In this video, I'm going to be building every single Avatar set ever made, and along the way, I'll be including my own versions of sets that LEGO forgot to make, so let's jump right in. Up first is Jake and Neytiri's Banshee Flight. This set comes with 3 major builds, Jake and Neytiri's mounts, and this section of the floating mountains. The Ekrons, or Banshees, use these really large and colorful plastic wings, which look really good, and on their back you can have the rider lay down. In the movies, the Na'vi use their braids to connect with other creatures, and you can do the same thing with your LEGO version. The floating mountains aren't just a cool section of Pandora's vegetation, but also serve as a display stand for both of the Ekrons, that now look like they're actually flying. Neytiri and the Thanator versus the Amp Suit is up next. The set has Korg inside his suit, facing off against Neytiri, who is riding this Thanator, which has 6 legs, so that's a lot of sharp claws. And by attaching it onto this section of the Pandoran forest, you can recreate some cool action poses. The Amp Suit is a really powerful machine, allowing the driver to basically become a mobile tank, and the LEGO version is no different. Korg's suit is armed with a giant chainsaw and a small knife. Well, small for a mech. I also really like this section of forest since it has a bunch of colorful plants that are basically straight out of the movie. It's also worth noting that Neytiri is quite a bit taller than Korg, and uses much larger minifigure pieces, since the Na'vi species are between 9 and 10 feet tall. This is the Jake Sully Brickhead. It comes with both his normal body and his avatar, which is equipped with this really long spear. Jake's human form also comes with his wheelchair, which to my surprise can actually roll. Considering these are brickheads, the builds aren't actually too bad. Brickheads are a staple of most modern LEGO lineups, but there are also these display dioramas. I think one of these could have fit right in with the Avatar wave, and the natural choice would be a home tree build, but since it doesn't exist, I'll need to build my own. So I started off with a pretty standard size for these, followed by a big lake up front, and behind it the start of a forest. Next I'm going to need this botanical bonsai, which is quite a nice display piece, and you can even swap out the color of the leaves. The reason I need this set is that it's a spitting image of the home tree, so let's go ahead and add it into the diorama. And to match the forest of Pandora, there will need to be plenty of plants all over the place. To really spice this up, I'll add in all the flames from when the tree gets blown up. And as a last finishing touch, these micro-scale RDA ships. And that's my complete home tree diorama. I think something like this definitely could have fit right in with the rest of the wave. Now back to an official set, the Floating Mountains, Site 26 and RDA Samson. This is definitely up there with the best sets from the first film. It comes with the Site 26 lab, where on the inside is a workstation and a link unit, which allows Jake to connect with his avatar body. The set also has a great lineup of minifigures, and I like that both Jake and Dr. Augustine have alternative faces with their oxygen masks. There is also a Palais, a 6-legged horse, that, just like every animal on Pandora, can be mounted and bonded with. The set also comes with an RDA Samson. It's very cool, and the rotors can be angled in any direction. On the sides are 2 stud launchers, and lastly it can be attached on top of this section of floating mountains. I really like that you can do that because it gives some nice height to the set. The RDA Samson is the closest we are probably ever going to get to a military helicopter from LEGO, but in the film there is a much smaller and even more deadly version, the Scorpion, which makes up a large part of the RDA Air Force. It's definitely something I'd like to build my own version of, so I'll start off with an alternative build from another set we'll see later on in the video. This gives me quite a solid foundation to start from, but it definitely could use some upgrades like swapping out the wing end plates for bigger ones. The weapons on the wing could also use some help, so let's add a rocket pod launcher, and attached onto the end, 3 missiles. Let's duplicate that over to the other side. The last thing I want to do is swap out the 2 engines, and the ones from the Samson will work perfectly, so let's get those into place. Alright, the Scorpion is now complete and I think it turned out great. These upgrades to the alternative build really make this look like an actual set. Next up is the biggest Avatar set, Taruk Makto and the Tree of Souls. It took me just over 2 hours to build, and it definitely lives up to the hype since it's quite an impressive set. The giant section of foliage isn't just the biggest we've seen, but I'd argue also the best. There are even some seeds from the tree floating around. The centerpiece is of course the Tree of Souls, which is by far the best LEGO tree I've ever seen. Underneath there are glowing roots where you can recreate the scene when Jake permanently transforms into his Na'vi body. Up next is Taruk, the biggest and most dangerous flying creature on Pandora. I mean, just compare it next to the Ekron from earlier and you can see why these guys are so much more powerful. Just like in the film, Jake can ride it and become Taruk Makto. And to have them fly together, they can be connected on top of the floating mountains. Now that we've built all the official sets from the first Avatar wave, I can show off another really cool feature, where you can connect all these pieces of forest and mountains together to create a giant section of Pandora, which has one more secret to it. In the films, the forest really comes to life at night with all the bioluminescence, and to recreate the same effect, all these sections have glow-in-the-dark pieces mixed in. As good as all the official sets were, there are still several scenes I would have liked to see in LEGO, one of them being when the RDA bulldozes over the Tree of Voices. And it is totally a set LEGO could have made, because right here I have the yellow bulldozer from LEGO City, which is an amazing model by itself. This set actually isn't far off from the bulldozer we see in the films, so I'll need to modify it a bit, starting out by removing the driver's seat and making it nice and smooth. Mounted on top of the pusher blades will be way larger lights on both sides, and since the bulldozer is remotely controlled, a camera system will need to be installed right up front. Let's also borrow the Tree of Souls since it looks pretty similar to the Tree of Voices. Alright, my version of the RDA bulldozer is now complete, and you can even have Jake punching the camera to try to stop it. With that done, we can now move on to the sets from the second movie, Way of Water. And first up is the Elu Discovery, the perfect entry-level set since it comes with the Elu, which is a friendly aquatic animal that the Metkayina tribe uses for pretty much all their ocean transportation. Just like the other winged creatures from the previous sets, the Elu also uses plastic for its fins. We also get these two sections of coral reefs that are home to a pair of fish and some colorful plants. The figures in this set are Tuk and Sienna, and you can notice that Tuk is a bit smaller because she's younger, and they are even slightly different colors since they come from different tribes. The next set is the Metkayina Reefhome, and it's a nice change of pace from all the other creature and battle scenes. I like that the set shows that the house is built on top of the reef, which is represented by these blue plates that show the difference between the above and underwater sections, which has a bunch of coral reefs down below that are super vibrant and full of life. Attached to the house is a dock where the kayak can be parked. On the inside, there's a lot of food being cooked around the fire. There are even some plates to eat off. Honestly, this reef home seems like an awesome spot for a tropical vacation. Just like for the first wave, I want to build another diorama set, and the scene I'll be making is when the humans return to Pandora by using their spaceships to land on the surface. Let's get started. First, I'll need to add some rivers and surrounding it with a bunch of green since the forests are completely covered in vegetation. When the ship lands, they completely torch the surface, leaving nothing behind, so I'll need to cover the rest of the area with black and gray parts. Next, let's add the RDA's ISV, which is lowering down the landing craft. Now on the edges of the build, I'll add two large sections of forest, and as a final touch, I'll need to add a bunch of flames and smoke covering the landing area. Alright, the Sky People's Return diorama is now complete, and this is definitely a set I would have liked to see LEGO make. The Skimwing Adventure is up next, and it comes with the main battle mount of the Metkayina people, the Surak. They are very versatile since they can swim quite quickly, but they also have the ability to glide above the water. To my surprise, the build is quite posable, really allowing you to bend it in whatever direction you want. When you connect it to the reef, it can jump out of the water, and it looks like a scene straight out of the movie. An RDA vehicle I really would have liked to see in LEGO is the Sea Wasp, one of my favorite new additions to the franchise in the second movie. I found this model and it looks amazing. It's super well armed with plenty of rockets mounted underneath the wings, and a turret up front, but it definitely doesn't function like a playset since a minifigure can't even fit inside the cockpit. The propellers also struggle to spin around, but as purely a display piece, it's honestly amazingly accurate. A playset version of this definitely would have been cool to have. Now moving on to the biggest RDA vehicle LEGO ever made, the Mako Submarine. The sub itself has room for two drivers up front. In the middle, you can pull up this section which houses the engine, and on the back there are 3 turbines that propel the submarine. Like every Way of Water set so far, we also get another section of coral. However, this time it's by far the largest, and there's even an underwater cave to hide in. The figures that are included make for a great lineup since there's a lot of variety, and somehow it's only the second time we've gotten a villain, and it's still Korg, but just in his avatar form. The set also has this bow that can fire an arrow at bad guys, and this was actually the set I used earlier to start off my custom Scorpion attack helicopter. I'm really liking the second wave so far, but I just feel like the RDA could use some more vehicles, so I picked up this Jurassic World Mosasaur boat mission. The main reason I got this set is I've always thought this boat looks very similar to the Matador, the ship the humans use throughout the movie, but I'll just need to modify it a bit, starting by removing this equipment and replacing it with 2 double-barreled machine guns. Up top will be the depth charge launcher, and after removing this, the heavy-duty harpoon launcher can go into place. It can even be moved up and down a bit. The boat is definitely now ready for action with all these extra weapons. The largest set in the wave is Payakan the Tulkun and the Crab Suit. I'm super impressed with how Payakan turned out. The mix of big molded parts and a brick-built body blends together really well. He also has this giant mouth that can open up really wide, and all of his fins can be moved around as well. The set also comes with this Crab Suit that has 2 different modes, a walking version, or by folding in all of its legs it can be converted into swimming mode. Right in the middle is where the pilot sits, who can control the ship, and when everything is attached to the stands, you can have them face off in an epic battle. And that has been every Avatar set in LEGO. In total we got 10 sets, which are all super cool. Included with all of those we got 28 minifigures. And finally, here are all the custom sets I built along the way. Let me know in the comments down below what set was your favorite, or whatever sets you think should have been made. And thanks for watching.